What is up, everybody? It is a fancy end game here to draft once again, and we're going to mock it up with a 12-team PPR draft. We've been drafting every week since last season ended, and we're going to draft every week until the next season starts. That's how we roll here. So the link is going to drop in just a second. This is a live mock. You get to draft with us, against us, show us what you got, who you like, and try to have the best team here. So we're going to also take a look at how the draft board looks post free agency. I know it's been about 2 weeks now, but some of the dust is starting to settle a little bit, and kind of getting a feel for where players really should be going. We had some interesting picks in our last week's draft, if I remember.
Yes.
You expect it to kind of be similar, or you just don't know what to expect?
Yeah, I think for a while we're going to see some interesting picks because the big issue, obviously, number one, is that it's March. But the bigger issue, I think, is the sleeper ADP, and we can't expect everybody to be as obsessed about fantasy football as we are, to where in March they know all the free agent signings, all the injuries, who's in, you know what I mean? Like, we can't expect everybody to know all that. So without the ADP there to kind of assist, people who are just maybe caught a couple of our videos and are like, oh, hey, they're drafting, let's go draft. We're probably going to see some, questionable picks for a while.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, everything can be questioned, but there's certain picks. Look, in the end, of course, none of us actually know who's going to be the best player or who's going to get injured and all this. We have some ideas. We definitely have a lot of ideas. That's why we make videos on it. But it's always about value. Like, you can love a player, but if you love him 5 rounds before everyone else, that's just not the time to draft him, right? You could have got him later. You could have got another good player. So that's what we mean,
Yes.
You think a guy is a first rounder or a top 10 pick, sure, but you don't have to draft him top 10 if everyone's drafting him in the 4th, 5th round or whatever. So anyways, that's what we kind of like preach and teach here is the strategy, knowing when to get the guys that you like, not just who we like.
It's funny seeing people jump around like from their draft slots. Like,
Clayton wants the 1 today. All right,
I think Clayton has been in like half the spots so far. All right, we got 2 left.
9 and 11. You can sandwiching me. Who wants to snipe me on both ways back? I give myself a 10. All right, Brian's in there. You went with a 3.
Yep.
Look, last time we saw CMC fall, what was it, the 4th pick? 5th?
Yeah, 5th, something like that.
Don't know.
All right, we got 30 people online, 1 slot left.
Let's see. Team 11 is up for grabs. There it is. Now we're full.
Here we go. Clayton, you wanted the 1. You got the 1. Let's see what Clayton does. You go with his boy, Chris McCaffrey.
Yeah, no surprise. It threw us off last week when CMC wasn't the 1-1. Not that he has to be, but it was just a surprise. But there you go. Clayton hadn't got the 1. I don't think I've taken the 1 yet either. I don't think so, but that's okay. Oh, I see. That's why people hopping around didn't want to pick right after me. All right, that's fine.
Respect. They respect you.
That's good. That's good. Got a question. I don't know. I don't think we really have to worry about affecting ADP for these guys. They will be drafted either late or not at all. So JSC off the bat with a running back committee question. You like Zach Moss or Chase Brown? Or I guess maybe not who you like, but he's asking who is the guy.
I mean, when you look at these guys, I like them both, honestly. But when you look at Zach, I almost said Zach Brown. Zach Moss profiles more of like an every down running back, like the early down running back, whereas Chase Brown profiles more as like a change of pace pass catching running back. And I think that's probably what we're going to see. Probably something similar to what we saw with Alexander Madison and Ty Chandler. Not the first half of the season when it was, all Alexander Madison. But once the Vikings realized he wasn't any good and they started giving Ty Chandler more touches, I think that's what we're going to probably see with the Bengals backfield. It'll be Zach Moss will probably get the majority of the carries. They'll probably be fairly close in terms of receptions, but it won't be like neither guy will necessarily be, like a workhorse in this offense, I don't think.
Yeah, the realistic answer is there is going to be a guy, there's going to be two guys. So they're going to split carries. They're going to be used in different ways. I mean, Zach Moss did catch quite a few passes at times last year, but I think Chase Brown fills that role a little bit better. And Zach Moss, of course, being a little bigger, might get more in between the tackles. All right, we got 4 running backs off the board.
Wow,
pretty
JT.
sure I'm going receiver. But which receiver? I feel like
I think you are about to answer this question.
Okay. I'm scrolling down. I feel like I'm missing somebody, and I think I am because again, I've been talking and I didn't queue up. I know there's somebody.
I don't think so. Not if you're looking at wide receiver.
Okay. There we go.
There you go. There's the answer, Dan. You got your answer. Who covered Garrett Wilson?
I mean, I eyeball Garrett Wilson, and I think it's close. I really think it's close. But again, realistically, in most drafts, okay. Well, you know what? Let me see. Okay, Garrett Wilson got taken. All right. I think in a lot of drafts, to be honest, if I'm picking 10, I could get Buka and then Garrett Wilson on the way back. Do you think that's possible?
Oh yeah, I definitely think that'll be possible. I mean, look, we are probably going to be higher on Garrett Wilson than most. So
right.
I think you can easily get Garrett Wilson in the second round of your, like your family leagues, your friend leagues, your work leagues, whatever, like your more casual leagues where people don't really start thinking about fantasy football until, mid-August or whatever, August. Because people are going to look at Garrett Wilson and be like, what's he really done? Aaron Rodgers, is he going to be healthy? I think you'll get Garrett Wilson in the second round easily.
Yeah, I think so. We were, higher than consensus last year. Now, of course, things happen like your quarterback, being out for the season after the first play. But besides that, Garrett Wilson, it's really amazing. I, to me, am more impressed by what he did last season with what he had to deal with than anything.
Yes.
The only way I might even kind of go off of Garrett Wilson is if they do happen to also draft a receiver high, which there's some noise about. I don't think first round, but still they could get somebody. There's a lot of noise about Brock Bowers. I don't think that would scare me off Garrett Wilson. But, do you really see the Jets going pass catcher? Because they did get Tyron Smith at offensive line. Like, they've kind of already addressed offensive line. So they're like, hey, Aaron Rodgers, more weapons.
Yeah, but, okay. Well, I'll answer first. Brock Bowers won't worry me at all. A tight end, not worried. They did sign Mike Williams. He doesn't really worry me because it frees up. It actually frees up Garrett Wilson to move around the formation more because Mike Williams will just pretty much play the X. As far as everybody, look, this is a good wide receiver class. Everybody wants wide receivers to get drafted. Everybody thinks there's going to be 20 wide receivers drafted in the first round. I got bad news for you. It's the NFL. The NFL cares about more than just, wide receivers. Now, wide receivers are important. And yes, the Jets got Tyron Smith, but he's a right guard, isn't he? They still need a left tackle. They have no left tackle. That is more important for Aaron Rodgers than a guard. So I still think they're going left tackle with their first pick.
You'd think that the priority for them would be protecting him besides just getting weapons. But yeah, I think so too. You can never have too many offensive linemen. Just ask Jim Harbaugh. He'll tell you about that.
Exactly.
By the way, team 2, Des Degagne, he's saying he can't join or he got kicked out or something because he's not online anymore.
Who was that? The 2?
Team 2. I'm not sure.
Here's the link if you need it. See if you can get back in for your pick.
Yeah, so just yep. I don't know if that means you got in or not. Yeah, so if we do have an auto that pick, then that's why.
All right, well, I'll buy you some time here to try to get back in when it's my pick. Just went Nico.
There you go. All right. See, I feel better. I took Devontae Smith second round last draft. Here he goes again in the second round. I feel like that's fair. London, Collins, like all those guys we talked about, Olave, kind of all flip-flopping positions.
Yeah, this is definitely where it gets like, how much time I got? 35 seconds. I want to give Mark a chance here. Try to get back in. This is definitely where I struggle with.
It's tough, right? It's like there's no clear-cut, way to rank these guys right now.
And I think
5 seconds.
I think he's the guy I like the most, honestly.
All right. I thought you were about to auto Austin Eckler.
No.
You know what, Mark Andre, if you want, I mean, you're already in the chat, obviously. You want to just say who you want? He could pick it for you.
Yeah, if you want to just type your pick in the chat when you're up, I can just pick it for you.
Yeah, this draft, asking how much is draft for. This is a free mock. We're just sharpening the swords here, just practice and getting some idea. All right, he wants Mahomes.
Okay, Mahomes. All right, I'm gonna give you Mahomes, and then we'll. Oops. All right, Clayton, you're on the clock.
Raising that average ADP every time.
Yeah, Ayuk was definitely one of the guys I was considering there. I don't know. It's tough. I do feel like right now the late second, early third is a tough spot.
Yeah, it's we'll obviously have a lot better clarity, a little more feeling about where these guys fall after the draft, but I don't know if Ayuk doesn't go anywhere, which who knows? Like, I don't know. Do you feel any different about him than you did a week ago, a month ago, or just like it's just all smoke?
Yeah, I'm still waiting. I still think we're gonna wake up one morning and we're gonna get the Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport report. Like,
come on,
did Clayton just auto? Maybe not. He's still green. I feel like we're gonna get the Schefter Rappaport report, like the 49ers and Brandon Ayuk finalize an extension that's going to make him the whatever, you know what I mean? We're still going to get that.
Yeah, I would think so. All right, good. He's back. Got to pick in. Neighbors it is. Going DJ Moore. So I still like DJ Moore. Like I said, I want to make clear, I probably liked him a little too much before the Keenan Allen thing, and now I think I like him a reasonable amount, which is still third round.
Yeah, I almost took it was between him. It was honestly between him, Dell, and Ayuk with my last pick. So I'm happy to get DJ Moore on the way back.
Yep. It's definitely good. All right, let's see. Yeah, it's Clayton saying you couldn't find Neighbors. He's there. You got to make sure you do rookies only and filter, because the rookies you're definitely gonna have to scroll down. But look, Mike Evans there is totally fine. I think third round.
Yeah, I feel like Evans one of the best values in drafts right now. Like, everything's the same. I mean, the only thing you could possibly say with Evans is, okay, maybe he's a year older. Maybe Father Time catches up with him this year. But, I mean, other than that, everything's the same. And I guess Dave Canellis being gone, but, I mean, Dave Canellis loved running the ball. So.
Yeah. We've been saying that about Evans for years now. It's like we should know better. Like, oh, it was just Tom Brady threw it so much it propped up his stats. Well, You can't say that after last year. So, yeah, he is what it is. He's going to get you 1,000 yards. He's going to get you most likely double-digit touchdowns. So just take it and bank it.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
All right. Now notice, I feel like this is, we've done several drafts already. I feel like this is becoming more of a trend. We're seeing the elite running backs go early, and then there's a pretty big break. You notice that after, right at my pick in round 2, 10 straight, and then go around the turn, 3 more non-running backs, all receivers, and then Mahomes. So that's really interesting, right? You had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 running backs in the first 14 picks, right? So like half and half, and then all of a sudden, not a running back for 12 picks.
Yeah, and I think it kind of makes sense. I mean, I feel like CMC, Brees, Bijan, JT, Gibbs, and Kyron, like I feel good enough about them. Like I'd be fine. Like I'd have no problem taking any of those guys in the first or second round as my RB1. Then of course I like Saquon, I like Achane, I like Jacobs, but then you start to get to those guys where it's like, okay, are these guys really elite enough? Do I really want to invest an early pick in them?
That's true. Exactly right. And
that's very, very good value on Achane right there. I would have considered Achane had DJ Moore not fallen to me.
Yeah, I still can't get with the early third, or even, of course, we see an underdog now. He's a second round pick. I don't know. To me, that's it's too much. What the? Okay. Yeah, I kind of thought I might go receiver again, but I feel like it's still good value. Etienne. After Etienne, I feel like there's a little bit of a tier break. Well, there's still a couple running backs I like, but I don't think third round. I don't need to take them third round. Ooh, all right. Noah Dunze for you this draft.
Oh, I like it.
Someone's on the reception perception train.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand why Odunze is not getting more hype.
I wonder. Well, let me make my pick. I think I still like the value here at running back. Go. I wonder because to some extent, I mean, Washington is not going to be as interesting as, an SEC team. There's that people say all the time in college that the bias, East Coast bias, Southern bias, the West Coast teams, people don't get to stay up and watch them. And Washington offense, they're going to say, well, it's kind of fluky. Like the quarterback, Michael Penix, we don't know if he's going to be a first-round pick, a second-round pick. I could see him falling. And honestly, I could see, teams justifying that maybe guys like Odunze and Polk and his receivers and his offense kind of propped him up a little bit because he doesn't have those off-the-chart physical skills. So I think it'll hurt the quarterback more than the receivers. But I also think that is a knock on Odunze. I mean, it shouldn't be.
No, this should not.
But it's going to be. A receiver from LSU, receiver from Ohio State. They're just naturally going to get, propped up more than.
I feel like if Odunze played at LSU and Neighbors played at Washington, Odunze, people would like legit be debating like Odunze and Marvin Harrison.
Exactly.
Debating like who's better. Instead, it's like, no, Odunze isn't even on the same level as those guys.
Yeah. I've taken him maybe once. I've taken Neighbors a couple of times, but I see he keeps getting higher and higher. I have not gotten Marvin Harrison once because he just keeps getting taken sooner and sooner. I mean, third round Marvin Harrison I'm okay with, but look, I would have had to take him at the 2-3 in this draft.
Man, I really thought, am I going to get Sam Laporta in the 4th round? That's a steal right there. Well done.
I was surprised nobody took him earlier. I considered him, but I've taken Laporta too many times, I think, already. I think too soon.
I usually don't go, but I
think the last of the running backs you really like here just got taken also.
Exactly. So now it's like I might just go QB here. Get out of there.
All right,
Man.
Jalen Hurts, never a bad pick.
Laporta would have just made this draft easy.
Yeah, that's, like I said, interesting. He's gone, 3rd round pretty much every draft.
Yeah.
All right, these guys are off the books here. Rob Dale saying got Jacobs and Pittman breaking out this year. I mean, I guess for Jacobs, bouncing back to his breakout? I mean, do you think he can get back to his breakout season from a couple of years ago?
I think so. I think he can get close. I don't think we'll see that Jacobs because I don't know if LaFleur is going to give him, every touch in this backfield. But I certainly think he'll bounce back. And yeah, Pittman will be great.
Yeah, I was hoping I'd get Pittman in round 3, but no such luck. So there you go. No way I'm getting Trey McBride ever in a draft. Number 2 tight end taken. Do have a couple more questions. We'll try to catch up on those. But first, Sean Martin asking, try to get involved in these drafts. It's easy. Hit the notification symbol there on your YouTube. And as soon as we go live and it says live draft, hop on, and we put the link in the comments. So we get on 2 minutes. The link drops. If you're able to get in, then you can draft with us. That's it. You just got to be early because we get going. We don't waste time. Don't worry. Also, we draft every week, like I said.
Yeah.
And this is March. I mean, once we get in the summer, we'll do a couple of times a week. Once we get closer to draft season, we're drafting constantly, multiple times every week. So you definitely have a chance. All right, you bought the dip with Kelsey. I think that's kind of what I thought you might do if he was there. Let me ask you this. I think I know the answer. Of course I know because we talk every day. But Kelsey and McBride, if they were both on the board, who would you have taken?
I don't know. I think I'm still going Kelsey. I get the case for McBride. I definitely do, but maybe it'll be McBride this year.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan of McBride. I kind of find it hard to believe, how sometimes there's a team or like an offense or something, like you're off and you're out, and then all of a sudden you're like, all right, I'm kind of in. I like this. And then you're like, wait a minute. Is this team that I was saying I wasn't going to draft anybody, this offense that I hated, all of a sudden is this my team now? I'm kind of getting there with Arizona. I feel like every player in their offense next year, I kind of want. I feel like, look at the value. I feel like, okay, I said that. Like, I want McBride. He's my number 2 tight end. Connor, we both love, right, where he's been taken. Murray is a steal. I'm like, do I like every Arizona Cardinal this year?
Well, especially if Marvin Harrison goes there, then the answer is going to be yes.
If Marvin Harrison goes there, you got to love him. Now that I'm starting to wonder too, and I wonder if that would affect things because, of course, take it for what it's worth. But today, there's something about don't be surprised if the Cardinals trade down. Well, if they trade down, they're probably not getting Marvin Harrison, I would think. But, I mean, you think they're trading down?
Look, I would never put it past a team to trade down. Again, I know we play fantasy. We like fantasy. NFL teams play NFL. NFL teams like winning.
Yeah.
Right? And if they feel like, hey, we can trade down, let's say Minnesota wants to trade up to 4. Maybe they're like, hey, we think, whoever quarterback we like, we can get at 4. If the Cardinals feel like, hey, maybe at 11 we can still get a wide receiver we really like, plus we now have another first round pick with the 23 that we can use for defense or offensive line or whatever they feel they need. I mean, that NFL teams are going to do that because that's good for winning football. So, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they did, but at the same time, like, it wouldn't surprise me if they did either.
Yeah, that's definitely one of those. Could go either way, and it's so hard to predict, and that's why we never know what really is going to happen in the NFL draft, because we don't know. Things change all the time. A team moves at the last second and puts forth an offer that just happens to be better than the other team's offer, or last second they decide, yeah, we really want this guy, we're not going to let anybody take him.
Right.
So I try to ignore, even though I have my notifications on and get them like 20 times a day, I try to ignore all the NFL draft rumors. But I think that's an interesting one because we just all assume they're taking Marvin Harrison Jr., and that might not be the case.
Yeah, I think if they don't make a trade, they are taking Marvin Harrison Jr., though. I mean, it makes sense for them. But if a team, like I said, if Minnesota says we're going to give you the 11, the 23, a third, I don't know, a 4, something like that, and maybe a future third, I mean, is Marvin Harrison that important to the Cardinals?
Yeah, I know if I was a GM, I'd always be in the business of trading down, unless there's a generational talent or a clear fit. Why not take the extra picks instead of investing in one player who may or may not work or may not get injured or whatever?
Right.
You have multiple shots, to get it right with a player. That to me, it just makes sense. You have to play the long game.
Exactly, and there's so many variables that go into, that can affect the player's career and how good they are. Like you said,
It's funny. I say this, but in Dynasty, we're in a lot of Dynasty leagues. I pretty much every time just like trade away all my draft picks and then go for win now. So I say that, but I actually do the opposite. But that's because it's not a real team.
Well, fantasy is a little different, right? Because, like I said, and that's the other thing. Like NFL teams, they value edge rushers, shutdown corners, stud middle linebackers, left tackles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They value that stuff way more than we do. So it's like, usually when you look at the first round, there's a lot of non-skill players that go in the first round. A lot of them. Like the majority of the first round is usually non-skill players. Now this could be one of the most skill-heavy first rounds we've seen in a long time, because we know there's probably at least 3 quarterbacks going in the first round. There's probably will be 5+ wide receivers going in the first round. We may have a tight end in the first round. So we could see a lot of skill players go in the first round this year. But most of the time, the first round of the draft, it's like defense, offensive line, right? Because, again, they're trying to win NFL games.
Yes, exactly. And if anybody didn't see the Harbaugh, we got someone in auto. I don't know what happened there, Magic Carp.
Did it make his pick? What just happened? I don't see his pick.
That's weird.
All right, well, he took Stroud. I'm okay with it. Stroud's okay. All right.
Oh, there you go. I think it just lagged for a second.
Yeah.
The Harbaugh thing today. Yeah, anybody who's trying to put like Malik Neighbors or someone to the Chargers, he could not have spelled it out any more clearly unless you wrote it out in paper. They are drafting an offensive lineman. So, yeah, you can forget all that, excitement about a receiver going there. Maybe round 2 or 3, maybe, but
there's no way I'm drafting Justin Herbert in fantasy.
No.
Jim Harbaugh loves to run the ball. He brought in the offensive coordinator who loves to run the football. They let Keenan Allen walk. They cut Mike Williams. I mean, it's like big flashing red lights. Hi, we're going to run the football. You know what I mean? They're going to run the football. Right now I'm all over Gus Edwards, but if they draft Trey Benson or Jalen Wright or Blake Corum or somebody like that, then whoever like that running back's going to get a huge bump.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And that's part of the reason I'm taking a lot of Blake Corum in these mocks. Of course, doesn't matter, but also an underdog. I got a couple of Blake Corums because it's a pretty logical connection to make. Harbaugh taking Corum. It's not a slam dunk, but I'll take that chance. A lot of tight ends all of a sudden off the board.
Yeah, we had a nice tight end run there.
Got Connor, just talked about him, like that value. Let's actually get some of these comments, by the way. So Mark Andre, who's right after you, on the previous pick, he took Kenneth Walker. So the question here is, what do you think about Kenneth Walker? Do you like him where he took him at the 5-2?
I like where he took Kenneth Walker at the 5-2. I'm not really a fan of where he took Mixon, but definitely a fan of where he took Kenneth Walker. I think Mixon will be okay. He's going to be the guy there more than likely, but I do like that Javonte pick because he's the guy I was going to probably take on the way back.
All right. So, I think, well, I know I agree with the Joe Mixon pick and not taking him there. The Walker pick, I think, is fine because you took him after that next tier, the guys like Cook, Pacheco, White. I think Walker up next. It's the Mixon pick, not so much. Javonte, don't mind taking this year. I wasn't taking him last year. I'm okay taking him, but I think you probably could have got him later also. Maybe a little bit later at least.
Well, he wouldn't have because I would have taken him right now.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind. Do we end up with 100 plus fantasy teams? Close.
Not quite 100.
No. If you include
these
best
days,
ball,
I try to keep
maybe. But no.
These days, I try to keep it under 10. There was one year where I had 18 or something stupid like that, and it wasn't even fun. It wasn't even enjoyable. Man, I don't like this spot at all.
Yeah.
All right, I guess here he's okay. Oh, jeez. Actually, if he's still on the board, I think I'm okay with him here.
I'm gonna say some veteran receivers still on the board.
Yeah, I kind of need running back, but I don't love the running back. I don't love the running backs here.
Yeah, if no one jumps out, just grab the best value. Last year I think as far as teams that actually had to set lineups for either redraft or dynasty, I think I was at 14 or 15. So
yeah,
we'll see. I'm probably not even going to pretend to say that I'll do less this year because I know I probably won't. But
I know, and the problem is I get in more and more dynasty leagues, and then I do. So then my league count goes up higher than I want because it's like, well, I'm already in so many dynasty leagues, and then I want to play some redraft leagues, so now I'm in 10 plus leagues again, and it's like, ugh. But honestly, I will say, since the channel has taken off, it takes up so much of my time during the season, our time with the live stream and everything. I really hardly even have time to focus on my fantasy teams. Sometimes I'll just look and it'll be halfway through the season, and I'll look and I'll be like, hey, this team is actually pretty good. I'm 6-3 or whatever it is. How'd that happen? How did that even happen? I don't even know.
You're just that good. You can draft a championship team in your sleep.
I don't know about that, but I think like, well, first of all, when you're in that many leagues, you're going to have some good teams. But yeah, I mean, like, I think we, maybe sometimes when I think back when I first started playing fantasy and like Kevin is saying, like, try playing in one league, say no to polygamy. Like when I was only in one league, I almost feel like I did too much. Right? Like I was like always trying to like waiver moves and do all this stuff. And sometimes it's almost better just to like let your team kind of evolve, right? And not overreact to something that happened, right this second. Whereas when you're only in one league, it's like, oh, I gotta add this guy. Oh my God, this guy sucks. Oh, you know what I mean? And you get so obsessed with that one. And you're like 10, you don't even realize. Like there were times last year where I was like, I have that guy on this team. Why do I have that guy? You know what I mean? Because you just can't keep up with it.
Yeah, I completely agree because if you have an injury that like crushes your team, well, it's not your only team. Like, oh, well, I still have this team. There's a player you really want. Well, you can't get him in this one league because the guy won't give him up or whatever. It's not a good fit. Well, you can try to get him in another league. You know what I mean? It just gives you more opportunities to not just win, but also to be involved. And, I don't know. I fully recommend doing more than one league.
Yeah.
I would not say you should probably go over 3 unless you have lots of time or you're just super committed. But I know some people who do it. I mean, it just depends. It depends on
like if you're gonna play redraft and dynasty, I think like if you're like I don't want you're like, hey, I just want to try out playing multiple leagues. I think like 3 redraft and 1 dynasty would be fantastic, right? You can just really focus on your dynasty league, like really build that team, make trades. Because dynasty because it's hard to have good dynasty teams if you're not invested. Because you always have to be working on your team and trying to decide, is this team going to contend? Is it time to rebuild? Whatever, right? Or can I make a run this year? Whatever. If you're just going to do redraft, I think anywhere from 3 to 5 redraft leagues would be fine. And the nice, like you said, the nice thing about that is like if you draft Christian McCaffrey with your first pick and he gets hurt week 1 out for the season, it's like, okay, your fantasy season's already over. It's like it's already over. That's it. You're done.
Yeah, exactly. Every win and every loss is less, magnified when you have more than just one league. So that's a good thing. You don't want to be on that.
Actually, you know what the biggest benefit of being in multiple leagues is? You're not sitting there sweating your score all Sunday long, having your Sunday ruined when it's like, like your guy scores a touchdown. Yeah, I'm projected like 65% to win. And then his guy, like 2 touchdowns in a row for his guys. And suddenly now you're projected to lose, like, 35% you're going to lose. And your emotional roller coaster all day long. When you're in like that many leagues, like I usually don't even look at my scores until after before the Sunday night game, I'll check. And then it's like, okay, I'm probably gonna lose that one. Oh, I'm probably gonna win these. And then I have maybe some close ones. And then you can just, you know what I mean, rather than sitting there stressing, like, seeing your stupid Yahoo scores or whatever go up and down all day.
Yeah, I know exactly. I used to be able to, and I say this used to, I mean, like over a decade ago, probably longer. I honestly can't remember the last time I only played in one fantasy football league. It was probably 15 years, but like I could have my entire roster memorized, right? I knew exactly who I had because I only had one team. That's easy, right? I can tell you my bench. I can tell you who I picked up and dropped. Now I watch and like, AJ Brown scores like, oh, okay, cool. I think I have him in like 3 leagues, but I'm probably going against him in a couple leagues. So it's like,
right, exactly.
Win, lose. I don't know. Like either way, it's fine. There's not many players between best ball and every league. There's probably very few players that I don't have at least somewhere in one of my leagues. So I get to root for everybody.
Exactly. And that's another thing. There's nothing more frustrating. Well, there are things more frustrating, but it's pretty frustrating when you play against somebody. Their team does mostly not good, but they have that guy that scored 4 touchdowns this week and dropped, 40 plus fantasy points, and you lose. Right?
Right.
Like your team did just fine, but hey, he had that random guy that went off for 4 touchdowns this week against you, you lose. And it's like, okay.
Yep.
Whereas if you are in multiple leagues, like, yeah, you might have played against that guy somewhere, but you probably also had that guy. So it's okay.
Kevin wants to make it clear
Kevin's not a fan of playing in multiple leagues.
Guy, he's a monogamous fantasy player. Playing multiple leagues is like filling out 20 brackets and bragging about the one that did well. Hey, if you can just get one that actually does well, then you deserve to brag because
1 out of 20 is still good.
Yeah. Look, it's not about just the I got it right or I won or the bragging. To me, it's just the fun of keeping up with it. And like I said, the adding that hot player and making that trade and rooting for your players and all that. I don't even know if I want to do brackets anymore because all it does is basically make me not want to do a bracket anymore and not want to watch. I actually one year I think forgot or whatever. I didn't do a bracket for March Madness once. And I think that's the most enjoyable I ever get to actually experience the tournament. I watched just to enjoy the games. So
honestly, I don't even I don't even watch the games anymore. Like I don't even know who's good, what schools are good. I mean, I would be like that person filling out the brackets just based on the mascot.
You know what? Look, and this is a long time ago, but also there's people, doesn't matter, men, women, but we did a bracket thing, and friends, family, whatever. And so one of my friends, his girlfriend filled out the bracket, and she knew absolutely nothing about college basketball. That there's plenty of women who do, but she just happened to not know anything at all. So she actually said, I'm just going to pick based on the mascot, like in the colors I like. Guess who won? That she filled out the best bracket. Not that it was amazing, but she won just randomly blinding picking. And that's just how it is, right? Nobody, I'm like, oh, Grand Canyon, they can pull it off. Like I have never seen Grand Canyon play basketball in my life, but I'm picking them for the upset because that's how you do brackets. Like, come on. Even the guys who follow college basketball all year long don't get it right. So
I didn't even know Grand Canyon had a school.
Well, I only know that because I filled out a bracket this year.
I only know that because did they win or did they almost win?
I think they didn't win because I think I picked them to win and they didn't, but I could be wrong. I don't know. Grand Canyon, Drake, I get them all mixed up.
I mean, yeah, oops. I was shocked when I heard Grand Canyon. I'm like, Grand Canyon in the tournament.
Yep. In the tournament.
Another thing about March Madness, I don't want to go on too much about March Madness because it's basketball and this is football, but with the way the NBA is now, we're like, with the one and done, like it's like,
yeah, you don't know the players.
Yeah, you don't. It's like they're there for 1 year as freshmen, and then they're like, "Peace, I'm out." It's not the same.
No, it's true, and that's not. I get it. That's not an old man rant. That's just like that's how it is.
Yeah, it's how it is. It's how it is.
Just how it is. Speaking of old man rants, by the way, what is up, Young Money? Didn't catch it. That's all right. Catch us in the next one. You'll be happy to know that when I was randomly scrolling today, Young Money, I found a completely random tweet supporting why Jordan is better than LeBron. So I'll show that to you later.
Oh, the Jordan LeBron debate.
Never will it get old. 50 years from now, it'll still be going on. What's up, Michael?
What's up?
In the house. All right. So we very briefly touched on this earlier. What round are you drafting Marvin Harrison Jr.?
Yeah, I'm fine with him in the second round. Assuming, like, this, of course, assumes he does go to Arizona. Now, if Arizona does shock the world and trade down, and then the Giants take him at 6, man.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the Giants. Man, when we live stream the draft, I'm just going to be praying. Please don't draft Rome Odunze with the 6th pick. Please don't draft Rome Odunze at 6.
No, yeah, that's the best part of watching. Is just the reaction. Okay, very rarely will I take this pick, but I feel I'm going to swing here because I'm kind of surprised no one's taking Brock Bowers. I'll take Brock Bowers.
There you go.
Why not? Yeah, okay. Well, for my answer for that question is late second, I'm okay with. Late second, you can't say, some people say, oh, it doesn't matter. He's best prospect. He's like can't miss. Of course, we know that's not true. Anybody can miss, but also for receiver, landing spot has to matter. It has to matter because if he goes to the Giants, there's no way. I'm not drafting him at all, but I am definitely bumping him down. You cannot tell me that him in the Giants uniform with Daniel Jones or whoever at quarterback is just totally fine. Like, it's not fine.
No, it's definitely it is far from fine.
Yeah.
That's why I know like on like I'll tell you the teams that that will terrify me when they're on the clock. Like, it'll obviously the Giants at 6. I'll be terrified. I'll be like, please don't draft, a wide receiver here or something like that. Or what happened? And also the Titans at 7. Like, I don't think they're gonna take wide receiver, but if they look at DeAndre Hopkins like, hey, this might be like his last year and we need a D-Hop replacement, it's not out of the question. That would be crushing. I think that's pretty much it early. Then of course, like, don't want to see the Raiders take a wide receiver. Those are probably the two where I'm going to be like most sweating. Like, please don't do it. Please don't do it.
Yeah, any receiver to the Giants would be crushing. To me, it would almost be worse. Not just Harrison going to the Giants. Would be one of those guys that you really want to see land in a good spot so he can show how good he is, and then he goes to the Giants, like Odunze or like Xavier Worthy or somebody. You're like, oh, this guy really can, and then no, he can't.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, like, really, yeah, anybody. Any of those guys. Like, any wide receiver that lands in the Giants is getting knocked down. I'm sorry.
Yep, not Giant haters, just reality. All right, Michael's going to wait till after the draft. I get it. I guess people want to wait till the rookies are settled and football becomes more of a thing in the summer. But yeah, appreciate you. Definitely. Y'all want money. Don't be strangers. All right, Kevin, in his one fantasy league that he will only ever play in, wants to know what happens to DJ Moore's value if they go receiver, which, look, it's not out of the question. Keenan Allen is not young, and they were obviously trying to stack the receiver room for Caleb Williams, so they could go receiver. Then where do you put DJ Moore?
Well, and then you have to bump him way down. I mean, it depends on the receiver, but we're talking about the number 9 pick, right? So if we let's just assume Harrison at 4, maybe the Falcons could go receiver at 8. Well, let me make this big.
You're up. I mean, it would be either Dunze or Neighbors, I would think. There's some mocks I've seen with a Dunze going there.
Yeah, it would be one of those guys. I think you'd have to knock DJ Moore down. You'd also have to knock the receiver that goes there down, because it's like 3 receivers, So
yeah, and not just 3 talented receivers, 3 on it. Well, I mean, depending on the rookie, but obviously one of the very top prospects in a pretty good class for receivers. Keenan Allen and DJ Moore, 2 elite receivers. Yeah, there's only so many targets. I mean, there's only so much that with a rookie quarterback they're going to throw the ball, I would think. So yeah, what would happen if they take, let's say, Neighbors or Dunze, one of those? DJ Moore to me is like late 4th, early 5th round.
Yeah, probably. I mean, that would just be ugly. That would just be very ugly.
Yeah.
Like I think at least like if they did take Neighbors or Odunze, I at least still feel like okay, while it might hurt them this year, their rookie year, there's still hope for them long term, right? If Keenan Allen's gone after next year, and now you're just looking at Caleb Williams in year 2 with DJ Moore and Neighbors or Odunze, that can be great. I mean, we see many teams with 2 very good wide receivers like that. That could be great. It certainly would hurt their rookie years for sure.
Yeah, and then Dynasty is a totally different story. But for redraft, it would have to hurt both Moore and the rookie. What you got, Downs? All right, so you went 3 straight running backs because you. No, I guess you're calling this a 0 RB team.
Yeah, I pretty much. I mean, 0 RB enough.
Yeah. All right, so trade question from Money. Traded Nico, Pacheco, and Hollywood for JSN and the 1-4 in a Superflex.
I mean, obviously it's going to change after the NFL draft, but right now in a Superflex, we're probably looking at Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison Jr. as the top 2 in some order, whatever order you want to put them in. And then what? Probably Drake May. I guess you'd argue between Drake May, Daniels, Neighbors, and Odunze probably.
I would say roughly equal value JSN and Nico. Nico obviously coming off a better season, JSN being younger. I'd say that's pretty close. Might slightly prefer JSN personally. So Pacheco and Hollywood for the 1-4 and a Superflex. I mean, I think I'd take the JSN side, honestly.
Yeah, probably.
But you can say, well, it depends. Are you rebuilding or younger? I still just think I'd take that side. Okay,
probably.
I'm gonna take quarterback. Actually, hold on. Let me look at my team.
Here.
Oh, we got 3 picks. Never mind. I thought we only had 2 picks left. I don't know why.
Here's what makes Dynasty so good if you've never played Dynasty. Clayton says, massive win for the 1.4 side. Silver Rapture says you got fleeced. That's what makes Dynasty so great, right? Because you can have people value players differently. Oh man. It's not as clear cut for me on this one. For me, it probably comes down to like my team. If I already feel good at quarterback, then I probably want Nico, Pacheco, and Hollywood. I think they're going to give me a better chance to win this year. I'm still not on JSN this year because DK Metcalf is still there. Tyler Lockett is back. I don't think it's going to be like the JSN show.
No, I don't assume he's taking the number 1 spot necessarily at receiver. I do think, though, I'm encouraged because different coach, different coordinator, different. I think they'll shake some things up. Obviously, the old guard is out, right? Pete Carroll's gone. I think they're going to really try to get him more involved in different ways. And, he made some comments about their former offensive coordinator, and they weren't I mean, he didn't really say anything, but he kind of said without saying, it's like, yeah, like, all right, yeah, good luck. I won't miss you. It's not what he said, but I really think they're going to try to get JSN more involved for sure. I think Lockett takes a little bit of a step back. So I think he'll at least provide more value than last year for sure. And in Dynasty, taking the long view, I'd take whoever you get at the 4. And look, you get, assuming, of course, quarterbacks go with the first 2, maybe 3 picks, you get Marvin Harrison Jr. And then that's your replacement for Hollywood. And
I don't think Harrison's dropping past 2.
No, you're Superflex.
Yeah, even a Superflex. I think it's going to be Caleb and Harrison top 2. So you're getting either Neighbors or Odunze if you want to go wide receiver, which is great. I think that's fine. Or you're getting May or Daniels, or maybe even McCarthy. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. But that's why I say, like, if my team's already strong at quarterback, I think I would rather just roll with Nico and Hollywood and Pacheco. I think they are gonna. I think like there's like Nico's going in the 2nd round, JSN's going in like what 6th, 7th round. I mean, sure, it doesn't mean that that's going the way it's going to be, but I think right now most everybody assumes Nico Collins is going to score a lot more points this year than JSN. And then Hollywood, I think, is going to be great in Kansas City, and he's still only like 27. And Pacheco should be a very good running back this year. So that's why I say I don't think it's like in a vacuum. Okay, maybe the 104 side is slightly better value, but I think if my team was a contending team right now, I would want the Nico Hollywood.
Yeah, I definitely. This depends on if you want to go young or not. I mean, obviously the Jason 1-4 side is you're leaning towards youth, but just like you said, it makes it great. You could go either way. This could wind up being a win-win for both sides.
Yeah.
All right, let me take this off now before you make your pick.
Oh, whoops. Well, I still got to make a pick here. All right, I guess he's still on the board. No, it doesn't look like it. Okay, how about I took him. I really need a running back. Oh, jeez. All right, there we
go. And by the way, before we move on from that, our Seattle insider, who is a lifelong diehard Seahawks fan and lives near Seattle, Michael, there it is. That's all you need. The inside scoop. Jason in the new offense will be great.
I mean, I certainly am not down on JSN. But again, I think if I was a team, or if I looked at my team and said, like, this team has a chance to win this year, I think I just want the Hollywood Nico Pacheco side. Because it's not like Pacheco's still young, Hollywood's still young, Nico is still young. And we know Nico's tethered to CJ Stroud. We don't know about Hollywood's future because, of course, he only signed a 1-year deal. But if he can help me win this year, that's fine.
Yeah, I think you could go either way with that.
Now, if it was a 102, I would for sure take that side because now you are getting,
yeah,
you could potentially be getting Marvin Harrison.
All right, just so you know, before I make this final pick, everyone knows this is a mock, not a real money league draft. This is the rare sentimental pick to commemorate the fantasy career of Damien Harris. Officially retired.
I think we have Damien Harris on a dynasty
team. we probably do, but we'll never forget your 15 touchdown season and the few times you scored and helped us win. So rest in power, fantasy career of Damien Harris. All right. Yes. Draft is over. Malt's feeling good about his draft. All right. Well, let's see. Let's see who feels the best, or I guess we should say who we feel the best about. Let's start with team 1, which is Clayton. Shocking the world by taking 2 49ers with his first 2 picks, and then going with Evans, McLaurin, Trey McBride, Jaden Reed, Benson Brooks, Kyler, Leggett, Kendry Miller, Troy Franklin, Polk. This is really interesting. It's kind of old early and young late. A lot of rookies.
Yeah. I mean, you do have CMC, so that's good. And I do like Trey Benson. So that could be great. Jalen Brooks, I feel like even if he goes somewhere good, he's probably going to be a guy that struggles for a while coming off a very late ACL. I know it was tough because I know I was trying to go running back late too. But man, I don't know if you need all those rookie wide receivers at the end when you've already got Ayuk, Evans, McLaurin, Jaden Reed. Like maybe if you would have mixed in another running back or two there, would have felt good about it. But I mean, your starting lineup is great. And of course, getting Kyler Murray is great value. So I do worry about your bench a little bit. A lot of rookies on the bench.
Yeah, and I think, and I feel like I do this sometimes inadvertently. It's like when you have, and of course, older, like Mike Evans is ancient. He's like 30 or whatever, 31. And like McLaurin is like 27 or 28. Anyways, but when you don't have that real youth early, you're like, okay, well, let me get some young players to compensate for my experienced players. So I think I get it when he's saying like he doesn't want proven garbage and like he doesn't want to take like Hunter Renfrow and like guys like that. Okay,
well,
I get that. At least
take
you're tapping
Hunter
into some
Renfrow.
potential upside. But I do agree in this case, the running back depth I think is the question because look, we think Trey Benson will land in a good spot. We think Trey Benson will be really good. But if Trey Benson isn't or gets hurt, then your running back depth could be kind of non-existent. That's the only thing. So yeah, one more running back I think might have helped, but that's not a big deal. Okay. Degagne F team 2, CeeDee Lamb, Mahomes, Neighbors, and then went a lot of running backs. Mixon, Walker, Javonte, Eckler, Spears, Njoku and Schultz at tight end, Judy and Gabe, and then J.K. Dobbins, who, of course, is getting some hype. This is his year, Chris. He's coming back. This is the year for J.K. Dobbins.
Why is he getting hype?
Because he is ahead of schedule.
Is he even on a team right now? He's not even on a team, is he?
I thought the Ravens were. I don't know. I'll look into it. But anyways, we did talk about these running backs already. What do you think of overall this roster?
Yeah, this is where I would have liked to seen like, okay, you go Mixon, Walker, Javonte. I don't know. Do you really need Eckler and Spears and Dobbins? I mean, the wide receiver room is here. This is kind of like the opposite of Clayton's team where it's like, you got CeeDee, you got Neighbors, but man, Judy, Gabe Davis, like if Neighbors gets drafted by the Giants or ends up not being, as good as we think, your wide receivers are really going to be hurting.
Yes. Yeah. You don't need to go that running back heavy. That's the thing. And this is full PPR, not standard or half. So that's my thing. By the way, in Dobbins, today the news was he was cleared for all football activities. So he's just like normal football player again. And he's starting free agent visits. So the Ravens haven't offered him, but they said that they are still potentially interested. He might just stay there. But
okay, let's say he re-signs with the Ravens. I mean, they just gave Derrick Henry a bunch of money. Like, yeah, I'm out on Dobbins.
I don't know. I am too. We were 2 in on him last year, and we're going to be 2 out on him this year. You were in on Tyreek Hill and Tank Dell at 2-10, and then DJ Moore, Hurts, Kelsey, Connor Ridley, B-Rob, Hubbard, Jalen Wright, Josh Downs, Gibson, and Shipley. So this is 0 RB. You got Connor. That's a great pick. I like the running back depth for this build. Let's see. Can't complain about the first 3 receivers. I noticed that, like I said, we talked about Kelsey a little bit. He keeps kind of falling to the 5th round. I think you got to just keep taking him over and over if he's there, right?
Yeah, I think so. I can't say I love this team. I mean, maybe going Hurts Kelsey was not good. I don't know. My running backs are just okay. My wide receivers could be good, but this team to me just feels like it's okay. Nothing special.
Well, yeah, I guess the thing is you don't feel like you have that, exciting upside at running back. Like Robinson, we know who he's going to be, right? Splitting time. He's solid, but probably not going to have a breakout season. Last year kind of was his breakout season. Hubbard, same thing. So unless Jalen Wright goes off, I think that's probably what you feel. And that's a 0 RB team, so that's fine. Your running backs aren't supposed to carry you. Yeah, I mean, I think it's solid. You got Hurts and Kelsey studs at those positions, so I think it's a good contender. Dan the Man went just Justin Jefferson, Devontae Smith, Henry and Cook, Lamar and Kincaid, Brian Thomas, Demario Douglas, Zach Moss, Wick Shakir, Pearsall, and Mims. What do you think?
Well, now I understand the Devonta Smith pick. He's got that Eagles logo.
Yep.
Yeah, again, I'm going to say running back. Running back makes me very nervous here. I mean, Zach Moss, your only running back you got behind Henry and James Cook. Okay, I mean, you have to work the waiver wire, obviously. Like, I don't know if you need, 8 wide receivers necessarily. But I like Jefferson. I don't know. I feel like it's too early for Devonta Smith in the second round, personally. Even though I do like him, I still feel like it's too early. So again, kind of like how I feel about my team. I think this team is like okay, but it doesn't jump out to me.
Yeah, I think I want to say that, like, okay, picks. I'm looking at rounds 2, 3, 4. I don't want to say that they're reaches because I took Devontae Smith in the second round. But I don't love it. Like, I don't feel like it's great value. Derrick Henry, I know we see him go in round 3 a lot, but I don't think he needs to go in round 3. Same thing, James Cook, I think is fine there. But if you can get him around 5, that's even better. You know what I mean? Like, each pick is like, I just don't know that there's great value in any of these picks, basically, is I guess what I'm saying. So it's a good team, but it's going to have to really come together. All these picks are going to have to hit, in other words. Amal loved his team. Let's see if we love it too. It is Jamar Chase and Nico Collins, Michael Pittman, Laporta and Kirk, Swift, Monty, Chase Brown and Gus Edwards, Jordan Love, Mike Williams and Quentin Johnson, Elijah Mitchell.
I mean, I certainly love those first 5 picks. Getting Sam Laporta in the 4th was great. Obviously, running back, when you do that, kind of like my team, running back will be a little weak. Like, if Swift is the guy, we know Monty at least has touchdown upside, Chase Brown, Gus Edwards. Like, I probably like your running backs better than mine, honestly. Jordan Love at QB, I don't know. I'm not as high as everybody else on Jordan Love. We'll see, I guess. We'll see. It's not terrible. So, I think overall, though, this is probably my favorite team so far.
Yeah, I agree. I like this team. In fact, these are all picks I would have liked to have around that same range. I was hoping Pittman would fall to me, didn't. And I thought about Laporta, but I was like, I'm taking him too much. So I didn't. I'm all over Christian Kirk in round 5. Didn't fall to me. So I like those running backs. I like all 4 of the running for this type of build. And I'm fine with Love. So I like this team a lot too. Ale, what is up, Ale?
What's up, Ale?
I don't think we even realized it. Sun God, London, Waddle, Pacheco, Andrews, Addison, and Burrow. And Mostert, Jalen Warren, Damian Pierce, Jerome Ford, Curtis Samuel, Tank Bigsby. He's a 0 RB guy. I guess he went sort of modified 0 RB or whatever. I don't think we can call Pacheco in the 4th an anchor. So,
no, but he's fine. Like, he's fine. I think Pacheco will be fine. I mean, love the start with St. Brown, London, and Waddle. I think Pacheco in the 4th is your RB1 is fine. Andrews in the 5th, like that, great value. I'm not super high on Addison, but again, at that spot, I mean, the wide receivers are kind of drying up, so I think he's okay. Burrow, I think, is a great value this year, too. People are kind of off him. I definitely like Mostert. I think Warren's okay. I'm really not drafting Damian Pierce. But really, that's probably, I'm honestly looking at this. Damian Pierce is probably the only pick where I'm like, yeah, I'm not picking Damian Pierce. Other than that, I mean, everything else looks pretty good. So, as usual, AL putting together a good draft.
Not surprising. I don't know if this team dominates like a lot of his drafts do, but I think it's very solid. I'll just say now, to me, I don't think Burrow really gives you much of an advantage over any of the quarterbacks that were taken after him. I feel like not just this draft, but just in general in fantasy, a little overrated, a little overvalued. And he can give you numbers. I feel like Dak Prescott will give you the same. I feel like Kyler Murray can give you better numbers. Tua, Jordan Love. So That's a pick I don't think needs to be made, but that's not a big deal, and that's just me. So if I love these running backs a little bit more, this might be the best team. But right now, I think I still like them all better. Magic Carp went with Brees, Devontae Adams, Jacobs, Diggs and Cup, Stroud and Ingram, Pollard, Charbonnet, Josh Palmer, Ty Chandler, Romeo Dobbs, and then Brock Purdy, the backup.
Man, what is 100 combined years old for his wide receivers?
It's a veteran receiver group.
Very veteran. I like Brees Hall and I like Josh Jacobs. Your wide receivers terrify me. I like Stroud and Ingram. I actually think Pollard going in the 8th round is good value. I'm okay with that. Don't think you need Purdy, but it's okay. But man, just those wide receivers absolutely terrify me.
Yeah, and here's the thing, for Carp and anybody else, like Devontae Adams in round 2, okay, I think that could be okay. Diggs in round 4, you're like, that's a steal. It could be. It actually could be. I mean that. Cup in round 5 could also be great value. But you're taking a chance on all 3 of those older receivers. Maybe not all of them, but at least 2 of them have to hit, right? They have to pay off for where you took them, especially because then you waited so long to get a receiver. Josh Palmer could be good, but do you really want to rely on Josh Palmer starting in your lineup all year? So you're hoping that Diggs isn't toast, that Cup doesn't get hurt, and that Devontae Adams is able to catch passes from whoever their quarterback is. So, I think maybe don't have all your receivers with the old man risk. Miguel went with Bijan, Olave, Debo, DK, Hollywood. Kamara and Chubb was an auto pick, so we're going to give him a pass for that because he got logged off or something. Goddard, Dak, Lockett, and then some running backs, 2 rookies.
Yeah. I guess DK in the 4th is okay. But I mean, I like his other picks. So I like Bijan, Olave, Debo, Hollywood. Even if DK isn't anything, like if he just is what he is, which is like, yeah, he's okay with a few spike weeks, I think he'll still be fine. I know you auto Chubb there, but I don't think it's the end of the world, really. I mean, we'll see. Whatever. It was an auto. Goddard, I think. Yeah, Goddard. Am I taking Goddard that early? I don't know. I think there's tight ends I like more than Goddard, to be honest. But I like the back half of your draft. So I think it's just those 2 middle picks, Chubb, which was an auto, and Goddard. But other than that, I like the rest of your draft.
Yeah, I think pretty solid. And like you said, the Chubb thing, like it wasn't too early. And I mean, who are you taking instead of him? Really, Zamir White? Really, probably not much difference. So that's fine. But yeah, I think this is pretty solid. Pretty good team. Got a good receiver core.
Zamir White, Aaron Jones, Najee Harris, Tony Pollard, Raheem Mostert. I'm just gonna name every running back that was drafted, and those are the running backs I'm taking over Nick Chubb.
Okay, well, I think Chubb will outscore some of them at least. Some of them. But
that's true. If he plays, you know what? I might take him over Bucky Irving. Bucky Irving looks terrible.
Some people like Bucky Irving a whole lot. Like I saw somebody he's my number 1 running back in this class. Okay, not mine, but that's fine. Brian went with JT, MHJ, Achan, Rice, AR, Pitts in round 6. I feel like that's one of the earlier, not the earliest, but that's one of the earlier picks we've seen him. Zamir, Hopkins, A.D. Mitchell, Dotson, Jameson Williams, Malachi Corley, and then Jake Ferguson, the value pick at the end to back up Pitts in case he flops.
Hey, I'm okay with when you draft Kyle Pitts. If you want to take Jake Ferguson, I'm okay with that because Kyle Pitts, far from a sure thing. Man, I love Marvin Harrison. I like Rashee Rice, even though I know I've talked a lot about how I can't believe Rashee Rice is still going so early. I still like Rashee Rice. I think he'll be good. But man, and then having D-Hop, Mitchell, Dotson, Jameson, and Corley as like the only wide receivers behind them, that is a lot of potential risk and not necessarily a ton of upside. Although I do like Corley, but still we have to accept that Corley may not go to a great spot. May is far from a sure thing, even though I do like him. So, man, I would have liked, I don't know who you could have taken in there, but maybe instead of like Pitts, I don't even know. Man, why? Yeah, I don't know. You know what the pick I think it is for me. As much as I like Jonathan Taylor, I think if you would have gotten like Puka or Garrett Wilson, and then just had Achane, Zamir, and then gone more running backs later, maybe I would have liked this team a little bit better. Even though I do like JT, I don't know if I like JT at the 1-9.
Really? Okay. Well, I'm fine with JT there. Actually, I was gonna say it's this team. There's anchor RB, right? You're like, okay, this is my one running back. And I feel like this team was let's strap the anchor to JT and then just go for broke. It's like I got JT, and then you put the blindfold on, grab the dice, and just kept rolling. Like every single one of these players has huge risk, like all of them, which could be good, could be bad. It's probably going to end up being hit and miss, right? Some players will hit because you got a guy who could be the best receiver, maybe offensive rookie of the year, Marvin Harrison, but we don't know where he's going to play. Achane could be one of the top running backs, or he could miss half the season. Anthony Richardson, guy who's played 3 games in the NFL in his career, coming off an injury. Kyle Pitts, who knows? Who knows? So I don't even know how to value this team. Like this would be a team I would be really super intrigued by in best ball because hey, this could hit. But this is like a really big lottery ticket, basically. And then there's my team, which is definitely less risky. Let's see if it's exciting enough. Got Puka, AJB, Etienne, and Rashad White, Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, Corum, of course, Jason, Bowers, Worthy, Marshawn Lloyd, Tua, and Damian Harris.
Damian Harris, pick of the draft.
Yes.
There's like quite a few guys on here I don't really like, but I think you got them at such good value that it's okay. Like Keenan in the 5th, Cooper in the 6th, JSN in the 8th. Like, okay, if you're going to get those guys at that point, sure, I'll take them. I mean, Etienne and White as your RB should be solid. We'll see where Corum and Lloyd end up. I think Bowers at that point is worth the risk there. So I think overall this is a pretty good team. I think you got a lot of good value on this team.
Thanks. Yeah, I just strictly went for good values here. I probably could have paired up Keenan with a more exciting receiver, not Amari Cooper, but Pickens was gone, and I'm not really in on Addison, and I think Jaden Reed's going to be a little overdrafted, so I guess I just went boring again. That's okay. I mean, honestly, we draft so much, I just kind of try to mix it up and then see what happens afterwards.
Sure.
Hidden Truths at 11 went Garrett Wilson, Barkley, Zay Flowers, Roma Dunze, and then Ramondre, Kittle, Watson, Najee, Devin Singletary, Lad McConkey, Estime, Roman Wilson, and Caleb Williams. I like it.
Caleb Williams is your QB1. All right. Yeah, this team feels very risky, I'll say. Like, I do like Zay Flowers, but man, Zay Flowers in the 3rd, Odunze in the 4th, Stevenson in the 5th, Christian Watson, Devin Singletary, the new Giant running back, McConkey, Estime, Roman Wilson. This is very, very risky team here.
Yeah, some risk here. Again, I feel like some of these picks, not all, but several are probably around maybe too earlier than you needed to take them. Now, Dunze, I think you had to. He wouldn't have come back to you. Usually we see Zay in more like around 4, but that's not a big difference. Ramondre, maybe you could have got him in round 6, but maybe not. So I think it's all right. And then Twisted Bliss went with double RB, got Gibbs, Kyron, then Josh Allen, and then the receivers are Higgins, Pickens, Deontay, Godwin, Cooks, Sutton, and Jacoby Myers with Aaron Jones and Rico Dowdle sprinkled in there, and then Luke Musgrave is the starting tight end.
Yeah, this is the thing. When you go double RB and QB in your first 3 picks, your wide receivers take a hit. Now, of course, if Higgins bounces back and Pickens is able to do it with Russ or Fields and Deontay is as good as we think, then this team could actually be a very good team. But certainly If they don't, you're going to be hurting a wide receiver. But I guess for going running back, QB to start the draft, you did probably about as well as you could at wide receiver.
Yeah, not knowing the Higgins situation, obviously a risky pick, but I think a risk worth taking. Can't say taking a rookie isn't risky, if you would have taken a Dunze or somebody like that. So I'm generally just not taking a quarterback, any quarterback that early because of that. And I just don't think it's necessary. I understand the appeal of Josh Allen there, but I probably would rather have that elite receiver. But overall, I think he did pretty well the rest of the way. No real reaches or anything like that. A lot of ifs. There's always ifs. It's a long off season, but we'll see how things play out. And in the meanwhile, we're just gonna keep mocking and keep drafting. We'll also do another underdog draft in the near future, so make sure you check that out. So if you want to get in on these because they're starting to fill up faster and faster, just make sure you got notifications on, because as soon as we go live, that's it. We're drafting. We're getting it done. We want to spend more time breaking it down and drafting than waiting. So keep that in mind. And if we have any baseball fans in the house who have not already subscribed to Fantasy Endgame MLB, check that out. We're going to go live tomorrow because if you didn't know, finally, it's opening day. We're going to have some actual baseball that matters, and we're going to break down. So check that out. Even if you don't like baseball, do us a solid. You can subscribe anyway. I would appreciate it. All right. That'll do it for today. Check out our next one, and got more videos coming as well. So keep it locked, guys. We'll see you next one.